what made you feel like you could tell this stuff, talk about your dad's brain injury? And I said, I had to be able to explain to the reader that my dad was going through something very traumatic for most of his life. My dad played Pop Warner football when he started playing it when he was 11 years old. And so when we were kids growing up, my dad would brag and talk about, how hard he would play football. He would talk about getting, as he put it in his words, he goes, I would get my bell rung, but the coaches loved me so much because I just kept playing. I just kept going. I just kept getting back on the field. I said to my sisters, I said, man, like, do you remember when daddy would just brag about those football days? Like he was a nose guard. He was a defensive tackle. Like my dad loved football. Before he ever was a wrestler, he was a shot putter and a football player. Now we realize, hey, that's not good. You know what I mean? Especially when you're doing that with no helmets. But back then in the 60s, 70s, wasn't a thing. I realized that when my dad passed away, I realized that I spent my whole adult life not understanding why my dad was acting the way that he was acting. And so I wanted the reader to understand that he wasn't a drug addict or an alcoholic or a bad person. He was actually living with a traumatic brain injury since he was in his early teens.